Oh, it's very brisk Brisbane today. It's beautiful still, but it's very brisk. Today we want to look at different aspects of trauma. This is a series on trauma, and this is video 3. Welcome. Hit the lots of love hearts if you're here today, or hashtag replay. It's always good to catch up with you and see how you're going. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you watch on YouTube, remember to hit subscribe so you know when the next one is coming out. And for all of us in Facebook land, I'm here at the same time every day, Monday to Friday. Now, we've been going over different aspects of trauma, and yesterday we actually got to have a couple of people in, and we got pretty involved in our discussion yesterday, which was good. And if you have any questions, you can also private message me. I don't mind at all. So today I just want to pull up the list. It's just that bit cold today where the brain's a bit frozen. Okay, now we're calling it this series Build a Better You, because what happens when we go through trauma, we have to rebuild, okay? Whether we like it or not, we have to rebuild. We either rebuild or we stay in the same heartbroken, brain-broken space that we have, that we're constantly living in now. And nobody likes that, okay? Nobody wants that for their life. We want to live a fulfilling life. And when we're fulfilled in life, we actually contribute back into society as well. And the world needs it, okay? There's so many that need help. And oftentimes, if we haven't travelled around the world, it's hard to imagine how many people do need help, okay? But we're all there and we need it. All right. So one of the things that can happen with trauma is that we lose our ability to be flexible with plans, all right? It comes from the sense of everything being overwhelmed, which we talked about yesterday, and our sensory system does get overwhelmed, and life in the physical sense becomes, it's like a real deep pressure inside of us to just stay focused on one step, one track at a time. Now, in the beginning, in order to become flexible with plans, or with anything that you're planning, we need to be able to see where we've established, I can only do it this way. And when you can do that, you can then go, okay, if I can only do it this way, then what else can I make allowances for? So if you were just going to start, if you had anxiety really badly, and you're going to start going outside, then being flexible would mean looking at the time that you're going outside. Can you be flexible with that? Who you're going out with, is that flexible? And so on. But your own situation is so unique that we'd have to work around it together to ask the right questions. But you can also do that yourself. Where am I not being flexible with what I can and can't do, okay? We need less stress. Whether you like it or not, you need to put yourself in a situation where you do have less stress. Otherwise, especially when you've got CPtsd and Ptsd, it's just compounding and adding weight to the trauma that your brain's already holding on to, okay? If you don't have less stress, then you're not going to have the breathing space to actually sit in and know when your brain's overloaded. Okay, stressful situations continually add to the load on your brain already. So look at where you can reduce stress in your life. Asking for help is a big one. I think asking for help, especially for me, was huge because I come from a long line of strong, independent women, okay? And we were raised not to ask for help. We were raised with the attitude of just get up and get on with it, okay? And that's not bad. It was what it was. But when we've got trauma, we actually need to, it's a good healthy habit to get into of voicing and understanding A, what we need, and B, being able to ask for help. Now, the help may not be just from family or friends or those in the community around you. You may need specialised help. So you've got to be able to and be willing to verbalise that you need more than what someone's offering. Because what can happen is you can go to a medical professional and say this is what you need, or feel that you can say this is what you need, and if they don't understand, then you can retreat again back inside of yourself, and you don't want to do that. It will take time sometimes to have the courage to speak up again and say, no, this is what I need, but it's a really important factor. I know a young mum who's now getting lots of outside help coming in and helping her, and that became a crisis situation for her, and we don't want you to get to that stage if you can avoid it, because you've got the information to avoid it, okay? Acceptance and grief. Look, I don't think words will ever quantify how hard it is to accept that the trauma happened, and because it's all out of our control. But what we can do is go, all right, I'm willing to accept that it's happened, and that gives you breathing space. The words I am willing, it gives you just that time, that narrow window of, okay, it's happened, and I'm going to take responsibility for where I go to from here. But the grief also is an important facet. I don't often hear grief talked about in relation to trauma, but we need to look at what were the dreams we had that we lost when the trauma happened, okay? And sometimes if you're a child and you went through trauma, you didn't even have a chance to establish the dreams that you would like to work towards. So that, again, is a whole other step where we need to look at what are the dreams that you would like to have for your life. But if you're an adult and you've gone through trauma, which does negate, it includes loss, whether we like it or not, whether it's loss of other people, loss of jobs, loss of a marriage, and so much more. We can experience a lot of loss in life. We do have to have a period of time where we can acknowledge our grief for what we've lost, not just the person or the home or the situation, but for our dream that we'd built around in our imagination of how we would like our life. Divorce is one of the most obvious choices here, because when you get married, you assume that you're both building towards the same bigger dream, okay? And when that comes undone, the grief, like you feel like you could almost touch it within you. So give yourself time to grieve. Build a support team. No one person has all the answers, but what you can do is build a support team around you of people who build into your life in different ways. So one of my clients, as well as coming to me, she also has a spiritual advisor as well, who's a more mature age female than I am, with a whole different skill set and collective life wisdom, if you will. So she'll have her GP for medications, and there's other ones as well. I just can't think of them all at the moment. But you get the gist of what I'm saying is build a teamwork of people around you who you feel comfortable speak into your life, that they're going to keep you on track for rebuilding your life, rebuilding the better you. Okay. Now, I want you to think of this. Resilience is a building in progress, not a strong way of thinking. When we go through trauma, and this you can notice especially from when you are a child, okay? If you've gone through trauma as a child, you'll notice that you have the ability to think your way through things and you have a strong mind, right? Well, resilience isn't about your strong mind. And even when you go through trauma as an adult and you have to pick up the pieces and you know that you've got the mind to do that and you know that your mind is strong, resilience is from the heart, okay? So in order to build resilience, we need to deal with the emotional stuff, and it can get messy, but as we deal with it, we build resilience so that the next time an event comes along that may be very distressing for you, not necessarily trauma quality. That's interesting, trauma quality. But yeah, trauma is a whole different realm in itself. You know that you don't have to lose the plot over it. You don't have to have a meltdown, okay? Because you know you've built the resilience into your heart through all the experiences you've had as you rebuild, okay? So I think yesterday I think it was, and I might have mentioned this yesterday, I'm not sure. My eldest son rang me and his car engine had, well, it was stuffed, okay? Now, normally as a parent, even in a normal situation, I would feel that I needed to go and help him fix that or sort it out, okay? And that's what we do, even as mums. We're the fixer-uppers in a lot of ways, or we try to be. And because of how we communicate with him, he says, no, Mum, I've learnt my lesson, because there's a whole lot of details to go with it. And for me, because I have resilience built in my heart now, I was able to go, yeah, no, I can just let this go. It's all good. I don't have to be upset about it. Whereas once upon a time I would have been devastated and it would have felt right out of control. But I was like, no, it's all going to be good. It'll come together. He knows how to pull it all together and I don't have to be upset. Yeah, I felt terrible that his car engine blew up, but the resilience in my heart means I don't have to have a meltdown and lose hours out of my day, because that's what trauma will do, okay? So really start to notice when you're powering on through in day-to-day life and your thoughts and your focus is strong mentally, but you're not including your heart in your decisions or in life. And what you're going to discover, first of all, is that it can feel painful around your heart center. That's okay. It's doable to move through. All right. I don't want to keep you a long time today because yesterday was extra long. If you have any questions or comments, ask down below or private message me. I want to wish you a beautiful day in the Southern Hemisphere, an absolutely wonderful night in the Northern Hemisphere, even though it's freezing here and it's boiling hot there. And remember, if you know somebody who's going through a really tough time, remember to hit the share button, because this kind of work is pretty much people are silent. They're trying to deal with all of this in the silence of their own home. And the more people that we can reach so that they know they're not alone, the better off we're contributing. It's our contribution as we go along in day-to-day life without having to extend ourselves too far. All right, love you heaps. Thanks for watching, and I will be with you same time tomorrow. Bye for now.